guys, welcome to the Wars and Weapons channel. In this video we're going to talk about another weapon that was kind of, you could say, a descendant of the bow, which is just a bigger version. Like inventions at that time, they were like they invented something or they found something new and they thought like, well, after all, why shouldn't we improve it in many different ways, such as you could say in range and firepower or in just fire rate. Bows were one of the things they decided to affect in some of these multiple ways. Now, one of the weapons that was like extremely famous during both the Crusades, the Punic Wars, and actually it was one of the main Roman weapons that was used during sieges. So you could say it was it could be put in the category of siege equipment, and that was nothing but I hope you guessed it right, but that's the ballista. The ballista is like an extremely big crossbow, not a regular bow, but a crossbow mounted on usually some kind of like four wheels or like one pillar and then four wheels in order to be able to move around the areas, because like a bow that big could not be man-wielded. Like imagine you're a Roman legionnaire and then you something like carrying a ballista around shooting people. Like it would be very weird. Now, the way these things work were pretty simple to crossbows. They had a big rope attached to two sides of the crossbow, like the cross right here, to that area, and then like a bolt would be loaded from the underneath because it was so high up. The legionnaires couldn't go up there and put the arrow in there. Like if you see the some of the World War II weapons, they put the shell in from the top. They had to put like a shotgun from the bottom. So they would some kind of load it from the bottom, and then two people had to use something like this in order to like pull the rope back in order to make it have energy absorbed into it, and then they had some kind of trigger which could be pulled, and then the rope would come back with a high energy and high speed, pushing the bolt out of the front. Now there are many arrow variants and many bolt variants actually, because the crossbows and like the ballistas don't use arrows, they use bolts. So bolts are just basically a bigger version of the arrow. You could say even bigger than a spear. If you remember in my video about the bows, I talked a lot about spears. I said that bows were basically just something to shoot spears further. Now like the ballista was something like that. Now we're going to talk about another weapon in this video, which was, you could say, something that got created in between the crossbow and the main ballista. Now that was the Roman Scorpio. Now it is sometimes spelled a scorpion, but I think the main thing is Scorpio. So it was basically the smaller version of a ballista, which could be used by a single man. Like if you just heard, I said that 3 to 4 legionnaires were needed in order to operate a ballista. But with the Scorpio, it could be wielded by one person because it was not like big. It was smaller, and like one person could load the bolt, one person could pull the rope, and then one person could pull the trigger and do all the things all by himself. There was no need for multiple legionnaires. So they decided to like make the bows, such as like the bows were regularly used like this. So they thought to themselves, well, why shouldn't we just make it bigger to make it pack more punch? Which led to their invention of the Scorpio. Now they thought we want to make it bigger and bigger. So it led to the creation of the ballista, which was actually so big it could use bolts that could penetrate literal wooden palisades. So you could say it could have been used as siege equipment in order to bring down walls, but it was mainly used to take down highly concentrated infantry because it had the ability to penetrate through multiple enemies without actually the help of any kind of like anything to push it. It could just penetrate through like 5 or 6 soldiers and kill them all. So the Romans decided that this is a perfect weapon for siege and for enemies with usually thick armor, such as like carriages, chariots and elephants that the Carthaginians used a lot in the Punic Wars. So they decided that it's perfect. And then the ballista actually also got smaller and smaller over time and it became what we call today the crossbow. The crossbow is an exact replica of the Scorpio, except it's like it can be handled, like you could man wield it yourself. It did not need some kind of pillar or any wheels. You could just pick it up and shoot it yourself. And they operate pretty simply, as I just said: a rope, a trigger, and like the bolt is loaded, pulled back, the rope gets behind the area of the trigger. The trigger is actually shaped like this, so that like you pull the rope and like you put it around here, so that once you pull the trigger, this area comes down, and then it's free to go. So you literally have something like a gun in your hand, like a single action gun in your hand, like single fire mode. A single fire mode. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like. We are extremely close to 100 subscribers, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the war bell to be notified of the rest of the wars that will occur on the channel later. Thank you for watching again, and stand by for the next video.